First day in pads one.
Yeah, it was good pace out there, Daniel. You know, anytime you put the pads on, you know, you kind of start training camp with the physicality and, you know, the blocking and the tackling, and that's where it all begins. So it was a good tempo out there today, and I thought it was a good start.
Any update on Trey? We saw he wasn't out there again today.
Yeah, Daniel, no significant update to report, and he'll be back into practice here shortly.
We saw Dean Leonard make a bunch of plays today on the ball. Just where have you seen him grow since you guys drafted him, obviously in the 7th round 2 years ago?
Yeah, Daniel, I think that's an area that we've really focused on. He has really good speed, and he's got good size, but I think just playing with his back to the ball and identifying his press, you know, fundamentals, because he's got a lot of good traits to work with. And as you guys know, he made a really big impact on our team on special teams. But now we see him as a guy that at corner we can continue to develop. And, you know, as you guys see out there, to defend this group of receivers that we have to defend, especially down in the red area, it's going to make everybody better.
There was a video that came out with you mic'd up emphasizing tackling. Why is that an early emphasis for you in camp?
Lindsay, it's the number one fundamental for defense. And what it leads to is if you're a quality tackling team, you're going to limit all the big plays, the explosions. And the way the NFL calendar is now, you don't get pads in the springtime, so you don't get to practice it nearly enough as you need to be good at it. And so, you know, what we want to make sure that we do, and it's just a big emphasis in this camp, is to tackle as much as we can. Not live to the ground, but we want there to be as much contact as possible. You know, explosive plays were, you know, we gave up far too many last season, and tackling was a big part of it. And that had a big factor in our run defense as well. And so, you know, tackling leads to your special teams and your defense, and it's so fundamental to your team, and we're going to make sure we spend a lot of time on it.
Ryan, how's the communication flow been with you and Eric Kendricks?
Fernando, just I couldn't ask for anything more. He's an easy guy to communicate because he's seen so much. He's been in the fire, and he's got really good guys around him too. And I know that he's probably mentioned it with K9 and Derwin. Those guys have also been green dots for us, and so I think he feels at ease. You know, if he doesn't quite have it, you know, those guys can fill it in too. But he's just got such a good way in that huddle. And I think that we're able to connect, you know, like a veteran quarterback, you know, like a offensive coordinator and a veteran quarterback on those deeper chapters. And, you know, we want to take this defense as far as we can take it. And so I think that the fact that we have, you know, Derwin and K9 here, they can help Eric, you know, get up to speed. And he's done a great job so far for us.
Relationship, when you do give someone else like the green dot, is that a relationship that you have to kind of also build away from the field, or is that just something where like he puts on the helmet and maybe in between plays you have some extra conversations, or how does that?
It's a great question, Lindsay. And I think, as you know, I had it with JJ and with the Rams. It's just it goes so far beyond just going through the play call. I mean, it's the personal relationship, it's the professional relationship, and you know, you want him to be able to think and see just like you do, and you also want to give him the freedom too. He's the one out there, and if he can see something that he feels like can help us, you want to give him that green light to do it. And so that takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of commitment and trust, and I know that we're going to get there. And like I said, he's a stud, and he's got good teammates that can help him out as well.
With him playing under Ed last season, did you when he came in here, was there some familiarity, like a starting point for you guys, or with Eric, did you sort of approach it as like starting from the beginning?
Yeah, that was a good start for sure, but I would say that Daniel, probably more significant was his background with Zim, because, you know, two of my best friends, you know, Jonathan Gannon's my best friend and was in Minnesota for a long time, and Jeff Howard was there too. So, like, I know that system very well and how he's been trained, how he's been coached, and I think, you know, that same as I'm able to translate it for him. And, you know, I studied them forever, so trying to connect it to some of his experiences, some of his games, and hey, you remember that play when you were playing Green Bay? Like, hey, this is how we would play it, or hey, we want to play it exactly like that. Like, can we bring that to, you know, to our team here? So just trying to connect all those experiences, and that's what's been fun for us. And, you know, again, just getting him to play fast, because those are, you know, that's what makes him special, or it's his instincts and his trigger on game day. So, again, a lot of work to do, but we're excited about where it's at.
Brandon, John Hightower seems to be doing pretty well so far in camp. Looks like he had a few touchdowns today. What are your thoughts on him and the kind of wide receiver battle towards the end of the roster?
Yeah, good observation. He came in last year and did a really good job fitting in. I think he got better as he went, got more and more comfortable, and I think through the springtime, you know, I think really established a good rapport with the quarterbacks and good foundation in the offense. Chris, you know, Beatty, who, as you guys, you know, the people that cover the team, you know, he's one of the top coaches in the NFL. He's done a really good job with him early in camp, and, you know, and I think you're seeing John, his playmaking ability, because he's got real speed, and he's got setup. all right, and he's got enough size that gives the quarterback a lot of things to throw to. So he's off to a good start to camp. And again, I think we're much deeper at the receiver position just in general. When you onboard Q and Darius, and then you've got Keelan and Hightower, and then we've got Jalen coming here sometime in the future. So we just like the depth of that room right now.
4 practices in with JC. How have you kind of liked the way he's progressed during the first few days?
Yeah, it just keeps adding more and more, going through the stamina that's required to play corner. Going through all of individual, increasing one-on-ones, increasing the team. Just has had no setbacks that way. So we just want to keep being smart and like I said, Marco and Sal have done a great job. Lamondo and JB. So just like where he's at, and he just needs to keep doing what he's doing.
Can you talk about
young guys.
how CJ Okoye is progressing and what maybe you like about him personally?
Oh, CJ, what an incredible story. And just every day you're just seeing him do something for the first time and learning how to be a pro, but just it's an awesome story for the NFL and for young kids everywhere. I mean, to think about how he just started playing football and to be out here on an NFL field, competing in 11-on-11, it's one of those awesome stories that we can't wait to tell, but he just needs to keep working. He's a ways away, but he's got a great group of guys around him and awesome, 2 position coaches with Timu and Jay Rogers, and just excited to get him out on this practice field one day for the next, because he really cares about his game, and he's going to continue to improve the more he plays it.
With some of these young DBs where maybe you're looking for some improvement in tackling, maybe JT Woods, Sunday, those type of guys, when you get into a padded practice like this where you're not fully tackling, how are you evaluating that, where you look at it and say, okay, like this guy is improving in that area? Is it positioning? Like what sort of things are you looking at?
Yeah, Danny, when we get the pads on, we want contact. So you're not tackling to the ground, but we want your body on his body. We call that thud tempo. And so when you get an opportunity to put your body on somebody, we want you to do it. And then what we're going to do as we go through camp is there's going to be more one-on-one tackling in special teams and in offense defense, where we're in tight quarters and we're really forcing the finish. And it's going to be great for our offense too, because another thing, what you're trying to do is be a great tackling team and then force missed tackles. Because when you force missed tackles, that creates the explosions for you. So we're just going to continue to ramp that up as we go, and we want to see contact from these guys. And if there isn't contact, then you're probably not going to be out there.
Camp kind of behind us. How do you ensure that the competition and the energy stays at a high level?
Yeah, I mean, Lindsay, I just think the level of player that's out there is going to ensure the competition. And then I think what pads does is it just raises the stakes. You get out there in stretch lines today, Lindsay, and there's just a different focus when you have pads on and you know that this is real. And so we just, there's too many good players out there for you to, go to your happy place and, feel, see what's going on afterwards. I mean, you can't afford to do that, because you're going to get beat, and then you're going to get beat out, and then you're going to be out of work. So you better come to the practice field with a lot of purpose. And we've got awesome leadership on this team. The guys today, were fantastic, the leaders, and you guys know who they are, or you're going to see them and hear them. They do a good job of getting everybody ready, and I expect that competition to continue to improve as we go.
You mentioned Q, you were high on him in the spring. Has he kind of carried that over into the early days of camp?
Yes. Just, I think that you guys are witnesses to it. He cares a lot about his game. He works really hard. He can make big plays. He's still a work in progress in terms of learning what to do and how to do it, but he can do it, And so, like I told you guys, he doesn't have the pressure on him right away to go out there and have to do everything. He can learn from these 3 guys who are all feature receivers in the league. Okay, Josh Palmer had 70+ catches last year, and he was our number 1 and led us to the playoffs. Okay, and so these 3 guys are as good as it gets. So he can learn how to play receiver, and we can find a role for him where he's impactful, and he's doing a good job on special teams too.
What about the trenches? I know this first day in pads, a lot of physicality can kind of be displayed now. How the trenches look, offensive line, defensive line, either linebackers, running backs? How that look today, first day in pads?
I wasn't at the one-on-ones, so I don't know. You could probably tell me more about the one-on-ones, but in terms of the team drills, I heard the way it should sound. And so, we're going to continue to make each other better, because, again, there's a lot of good competition on both sides of the ball up front. And so it's going to bring out the best in everybody. And again, this is the first day. We're going to look at this film and say, hey, our pad level wasn't good enough, and, hey, our angles weren't good enough. We didn't fit our hands right. But, that's where you got to start. You got to have a starting point, and then we're just going to keep getting better as we go. And, like you saw today, there were a lot of runs out there, and that was by design. We want to see these guys, fit their pads and be able to feel what you need to in order to be good, in the run game.
Darius Davis' reputation as a returner. As far as trying to incorporate him in the offense, is that going to be kind of a over the course of a season, see how it evolves sort of situation?
Yeah, Jeff, I think that's fair to say. I think it's a work in progress. I think you've seen him do some good things out there, but how he fits in with the group, I think there's much to be determined. But I think what we're trying to do is get him a ton of work with that second and third group and see where it goes. But he's definitely a guy that we can fit in somewhere, with that type of speed. And, I thought TCU did a nice job of it as well. So it's not like he didn't play receiver at TCU. He was a receiver, and now it's just how he's going to fit for us.